In the small, quiet town of Ravenwood, Ohio, people used to leave their doors unlocked. It was the kind of place where everyone knew everyone, and a sense of safety was just part of the air you breathed. But that all changed one hot summer night in 1998. Something crawled out from the shadows and shattered that peace forever. A young woman, just starting her life, vanished without a trace from her own home. The only clue left behind was a chilling trail of blood, leading from her bedroom, down the hall, and straight to the door of her basement. When police officers finally broke down that door, the air inside was thick, not just with the metallic tang of fear, but with something else. The sickly sweet smell of decay. Flashlights cut through the oppressive darkness, revealing something truly disturbing. The cold, damp basement walls were covered in strange, cryptic symbols, drawn in what investigators would later confirm was blood. And in the corner, on an old cassette player, a tape was still running, caught in an endless loop. It had recorded the last sounds she ever made. First, a faint, terrified whisper, "He's here." And then, absolute silence. The investigation that followed turned up more questions than answers. The house was secure. There was no sign of forced entry. The forensic team scoured every inch of the property, but found no fingerprints, no foreign DNA, not a single hair that didn't belong to the victim. It was as if she'd been erased by a ghost. There was no sign of a struggle, either, except for one single, baffling piece of evidence on the dusty basement floor. A perfect shoe print, belonging to a brand that didn't exist. No manufacturer in the world made a shoe with that tread. Desperate for a lead, detectives canvassed the neighborhood. A few neighbors, woken by the commotion, reported seeing something strange. They all described a tall, thin man in a long black coat, standing motionless across the street at exactly 2:47 a.m., just staring at the house. But when investigators reviewed the security footage from a nearby store, the man wasn't there. All they saw at that precise moment was a flickering street light and a long, distorted shadow on the pavement. A shadow that seemed to stretch and move on its own, independent of any object or person. Over the years, theories swirled around the Ravenwood case, each more terrifying than the last. Some believe it was the work of a phantom serial killer, a meticulous predator who committed the perfect crime and then simply vanished, never to be heard from again. But others, especially those who were there, believe something far darker was at play. They talk about the house itself. Almost every person who ever stepped foot into that basement reported the same unsettling experience: a cold spot, a feeling of being watched, and a disembodied whisper right in their ear. A whisper that called them by their name. The phenomenon was so intense that two of the lead detectives quit the force soon after. A third, who went back to the house one last time, alone, disappeared completely and was never seen again. 25 years later, the case remains cold. The house in Ravenwood still stands, abandoned and decaying, a dark monument to the night the town lost its innocence. The evidence tape, catalogued as Case R1998, is still locked away in a police archive, replaying that final, horrifying moment. Locals say the place is cursed. They warn you to stay away, especially after dark, because if you stand outside that grimy basement window at the stroke of midnight and listen closely, you can still hear her voice, whispering up from the suffocating darkness below. He never left. Thanks for watching. If you found this story as chilling as we did, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more dives into the unknown. Stay safe out there.